Ray Higdon's take on failure and success. Here's my definition of failure. I set a goal I want to attain, but then I let something get in the way of attaining it. It reminds me of a great quote from George Zalewski. Commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left you. For example, sometimes we want to accomplish something, and information is gathered that makes you realize you didn't really want it, that you no longer wish to pursue it. In this case, you are quitting because you decide it's intelligent for you to quit. Over the years, I've gone back and forth in my definition of success, and the one that I've come to is that success is a combination of growth and contribution. I need to be in a constant state of growth to be successful. I also need to be contributing, which can mean all kinds of different things. For me, contributing is helping others, working with my clients, helping them accomplish their goals, putting content out into the profession, speaking at different events, supporting others in their pursuit of their goals. I need to not just be growing as a person, but also need to be growing as a company too. I want every dollar we make to put more value into the marketplace. If it doesn't, we shouldn't create it. That means our company must be more profitable than the previous year if we're serious about growth. To some people, contribution is writing a check to a charity. If that's your thing, good for you. But to me, success requires both growth and contribution. Tara Wilson. I got involved with network marketing in March of 2007. I had been to Mary Kay parties and jewelry parties, but I thought those people just worked for that company directly. I didn't know market level marketing even existed. My sister called me and said, "Look, I think there's something to this. It's a health product, and you like health. And at the end of the day, you just have to find a few people that want to order it, and you'll make some money." Not knowing about the industry, and of course, you don't know that rejection is out there. The most harsh, awful, emotional rejection I had was from my best friend. And when I say best friend, we were at each other's high school graduations, weddings, and she was in the room with my mother in law, my mother, and my sister when my first child was born. Naturally, I called her and I was excited because I had just gone to the meeting and I was feeling full of possibility. I told her everything and she was all excited. We were excited. We were going to do this and we were going to go big time. The next day, I got an email from her. I'll never forget the way I felt when I got this email. I don't remember all the words, but I remember this much. "Hey, I talked to my husband and he said, it sounds like one of those pyramid things where you make money off your friends and family, and we're just not willing to do that." I was sitting in my office and all those thoughts were going through my head. I started welling up with tears. Wow, she couldn't even pick up the phone and call me. My best friend. I sat there alone thinking, if my best friend, the person who trusts me, knows me, loves me probably more than anyone in the world outside my family, doesn't see it, will I even have a chance? Will I really be able to do this? Who in the world would say yes then? I went from really hurt to angry. I remember thinking, I'm going to let this fuel me. Just because it's not her dream doesn't mean it's not going to be my dream, because I see it. I know there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of people out there just like me. Just because she doesn't see it doesn't mean that I can't succeed. I said, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know who, but I'll persist until I succeed just to prove her wrong. And honestly, that for many, many months was my motivation. I'll never forget when we were talking about a year later, she asked me how it was going, and I said, really great. I'm making over $35,000 a month. I really wish you could have done this with me. I retired myself a few months later, and I retired my husband 5 years in, who owns his own business now. I'm a mom of 3 kids that gets to work from home. I've built teams now that have hundreds of thousands of people in 12 countries just because I didn't give up. Tara Wilson, stay-at-home mom and multi-7-figure earner. the 5 failure levels. Level 5 is failing exponentially. Level 4, failing bigger and faster. Level 3, wantingness to fail. Level 2, the willingness to fail. And level 1, the ability to fail. Here, let me show you this little pyramid looking thing here. All right, level 1, the ability to fail. Everyone on planet Earth has the ability to fail. It's where we all start. What keeps people at level 1 status is their intense desire to avoid any form of failure at all costs. As a result, 80% of all people never move past this basic level. Level 2, the willingness to fail. Level 2 people develop the willingness to fail, which means they come to accept failure as a natural byproduct of the process of seeking success. Fewer than 20% of all people make it to level 2 for any sustained period of time. The next level may be the most important of all. Level 3, the wantingness to fail. Having the wantingness to fail goes beyond more tolerance or acceptance of failure as part of life. Wantingness means developing the desire to fail with the inner faith that personal and financial growth will follow. Fewer than 5% of all people ever get to level 3. Level 4, failing bigger and faster. The people who ascend to level 4 are those who have come to the conclusion that if failing is good, then failing faster is better. And not just failing faster, if one is going to increase their failure rate, they should do it going after big goals that are worth the effort. Finally, there's level 5, failing exponentially. This final level is a function of management and team leadership for those rare individuals who understand that massive success requires multiplication of effort. Level 5 people enlist others to fail with them and for them, knowing that if individual failure means individual success, then group failure means group or team success. So Ray Rigdon's take on getting beyond willingness to wantingness. I remember when I was in middle school and I was selling this candy called Airheads. I found this little drugstore and I would get them for 10 cents. They were cheaper than anything else, and I would go sell them for a quarter. I was moving like 90 to 100 a day. Just doing that made me a bit different from other kids in middle school, since most kids aren't thinking about how to make money. Even at that age, there were kids who would say, "Oh, you're that kid that sells those stupid Airheads, right?" I think getting past deep concerns about looking good and avoiding criticism is the first step to being successful as an entrepreneur or a network marketer. If you can't get past the fear of criticism and learn to accept non-approval, then you have no shot at building a successful business or doing anything outside the ordinary. If you're not vaccinated from the existence of criticism, you'll never get to the point where you have the confidence to ask someone to buy something, let alone ask them to check out your company or watch a video. When I decided I was going to leave corporate America, I was diving into books, studying how to be an entrepreneur, and discovering who I wanted to become. It was this vision that helped me become bulletproof. I remember sitting in a Ruby Tuesdays restaurant when I saw a group of very well-dressed guys sitting at a table right down the aisle from me. I got up and went over and said, "Hey guys, I do mortgages. I'd love to help you out." I look back and think how bold that was, but I was able to do it because my self-esteem was so high that I didn't care. Now, there have also been times when my self-esteem wasn't so high, like when the real estate market crashed and I lost everything. Here I was in foreclosure, dead broke and being chased by bill collectors. My self-esteem was so low, there was no way in heck I would have gone to another table and introduced myself. Kathleen Duggleman. I just celebrated my 10th year in network marketing. It has gone so quickly. I have only been with 2 companies, and while it has been a lot of work, and certainly there has been lots of ups and downs, every aspect of my life has been so much richer because of this profession and what we get to do and what we get to accomplish and who we get to become because of this choice. I could not imagine my life today if I had said no 10 years ago. I feel incredibly blessed for the life I have lived and get to live. So now that we have that out of the way, let me tell you about a few of the downs in those ups and downs. I know what it feels like to have every single family member say no. And I have a very large family. And I know what it feels like to have family make fun of my choice, say no, try to talk me out of it, and warn the rest of the family about what I'm doing. I know what it is like to push away from an email on the computer because I'm about to cry at the words that were written to me about this choice by someone that I love very much. And I know what it is like to have mom trying to talk me out of this choice 2 years later when I was doing very well. Fast forward a few years. I still know what it is like to have 95% of my family not be interested, involved, or approve. Fast forward a few more years. I now finally have many of their approval and am called the entrepreneur of the family. Would you like to know how I handled this massive rejection? I chose not to care. Of course, I still cared, but chose not to let it fuel me. I chose to say quietly and under my breath, get out of my way and watch me. I chose to become as successful as I could possibly be, not to prove it to them, but to prove it to myself. I didn't let anything stop me, not even the people I love the most. And eventually it all worked out. And I feel their love and support in terms of my business. I learned to compartmentalize this area of my life in terms of their love and support. I know they loved me and I know they wanted the best for me. And I know they also didn't know what they were talking about. It wasn't my job to change their minds or to lose sleep over it, or even worse, to lose a relationship over my choice to become a network marketer. I decided very early on that not one family meal or gathering would be awkward because they didn't see what I saw. What if I had let them talk me out of it? What if I had let them sway my belief that I could be really good at this? I wouldn't have the health, relationships, adventures, wealth, and loves of my life that I have today. I would have missed out on so much, and thousands of people all around the world would not have been positively impacted either. Sometimes, when it seems like nobody around you gets what you're doing, that is when you have to go down deep inside and make a decision that you are going to do this no matter what. I did that, and I can tell you from the bottom of my heart how grateful and happy I am that I did. I wish you all the best and don't let anyone or anything stand in the way of what you believe and what you want and deserve in your life. Kathleen Degelman, Top Network Marketing Professional, www.kathleendegelman.com. Your NQ, no quotient, is significantly more important than your IQ. As you already know, IQ stands for intelligence quotient. Interestingly, the vast majority of people do not know their IQ. That's okay, because knowing your IQ, or for that matter, having a high IQ, is not all that critical when it comes to determining the level of success you will achieve in life. In fact, when you look around, you see that the world is filled with lots of low performing, high IQ people and lots of high performing, low IQ people. The number that really matters in business and in life is your NQ, your no quotient. The number of times you are willing to hear no before succeeding, the number of rejection you are willing to endure and keep going, and the number of times you are willing to get knocked down and then get back up, knowing very full well that you are almost certain to get knocked down again. That is the number that determines greatness in today's world, perhaps the only number. Because the history of the world's greatest people, the movers and shakers and doers, is in fact the collection of stories of people with high no quotients. When you look at the great success stories of our time, you peel away the outer layer, the glitz and glamour of what is seen on the surface of the general public. What you discover are stories of what you might call successful failures. Virtually every successful person you see or you think of got there not just by failing, but usually through massive failure. Behind every successful story is a story of persistence, courage, tenacity, and a willingness to endure failure and rejection uncommon by any standard until successful. All right, that's it for now. We'll talk next time.